Yeah, beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Stay positive, hope, and keep faith. Stand strong against any odds that you face. Put away the alcohol and the drugs. Fill your time with the things you love. Addiction is tough, but it's worth the work. Treat your body what it's worth. Spread positivity, inspire all. If we stand together, we will never fall. I help others see the other sides to life. A sober life, letting go of the strife. So give me a call, I can help. 1-844-4405-HELP. Homeless shelters, hospitals, jails, wherever you are. I am Ralf Friedrichs and I am here for you. 1-844-405-HELP. Change your future, starts today. Live life to the fullest, never skip a day. Create hope, spread positivity. Beat your addictions and negativity. Ralf Friedrichs is here for you. Call today so we can help you. 1-844-405-HELP. 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 We are here for you. Call us today.
Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something with you, and let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of that coffin. You try lifting the lid. The enormous weight upon the lid prevents you from opening the lid. You then try banging on the lid to maybe unsettle the dirt so that maybe, just maybe, somebody might dig their way down to help you. You just think you're going to die. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to turn. In reality, there are probably people staying right by your grave. You just don't know that. You just think today is the day you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind while abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose, take something so preciously given to you on a loaner basis by God? Folks, if that's not selfish enough, by abusing drugs and alcohol, you're taking your life away from the people that love and need you most, people like your children and your grandchildren, maybe your husband or your wife, maybe your mother, your father, your brother or sister. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be like the person that I just read about on these index cards that waited and waited to get help until it was too late. Instead, pick up the phone and call me at 844-405-HELP or text me at 631-599-0218, and I promise you, I will help you take your life back before your life is gone. People like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy at 516-458-2741, www.odysseyconsultant.org. Larry and I always tell folks like you, it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is that you're here and you're looking for help. Larry Geis from the Geis Academy, 516-458-2741. Folks, do not forget, take your slippers off before you climb into bed tonight. But don't just leave them at the edge of your bed. Stick them under your bed. In the morning when you wake up, get on your knees, look for those slippers. There they are. Retrieve them from under your bed. Then while you're on your knees, utilize what I call knee mail, K-N-E-E, mail. That is your direct link to God. It is not an email. It is not a voicemail. It is not a fax. It is not an instant message or a phone call. It is knee mail. Each and every morning when you retrieve the slippers, thank God for another beautiful day to enjoy waterfalls and running streams like I have in the background. Because for someone else, they might not enjoy that because they didn't wake up. Thank God for your food, for your clothing, your home, your family. Ask God for guidance and direction throughout your day, your week, your life. Ask God for mercy and forgiveness. Utilize knee mail each and every morning. If you do that each and every morning, your life will slowly but surely see drastic changes where it becomes happier, easier to live through life, easier to deal with problems. Relationship issues get better, financial issues get better. But you have to have that direct communication with God. Put on your slippers now, folks, and walk with God 24/7. I want to talk about 10 particular jobs that I came up with that might make you want to drink. And you have to be careful, because if you have these jobs, you want to keep away from certain things. But do certain occupations push people into drug and alcohol abuse? Or are addictive personalities attracted to certain careers? I do think so, personally. So let's discuss some of them. Addictive careers, maybe you should have stuck with accounting At first, being a rock star and an addict didn't go hand in hand for D.H. Peligro, the famously dreadlocked drummer for Dead Kennedys and former drummer for Red Hot Chili. I think it's called Red Hot Chili Peppers. This particular person became a rock star, and it was one of the things that he could focus on that gave him relief by doing drugs or alcohol. But drugs and alcohol were around in his St. Louis neighborhood when he was growing up. And he, at first, drank about at the age of 15 and smoked pot at 17. Then as he got into the club scene, hanging out before and during after the shows, he made acquaintances of people that were dealing and giving harder drugs. While conventional wisdom holds that certain that professions directly have an impact upon your alcohol and drug addictions, there is no data to really back that up. Dr. David Friedman, a neuroscientist and professor of psychology at Wake Forest School of Medicine in North Carolina, says that that it's in the ink of some careers that create the fashion and the desire to make you want to do drugs and drinking quickly. And it started even a career. Obviously, famous people hit the news when they get in trouble. So, a lot of them make the media the minute they go into rehab because it is so exposed, says Friedman. It's not clear that those professions necessarily attract addicts, but they seem to be in the limelight a lot more. Those who choose to become artists and athletes often see the poles of intensity and find those kinds of draws through their professions. While Friedman concedes that many artists and writers are known for heavy pursuit of chemical highs and lows, he says when you break down the risk factors for addiction, genetics, environmental factors, starting early, none of them suggest that their professions might be a trigger towards the addiction any quicker. In fact, in 2007 study SAMHSA, which is Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Association, found that the glamour professions like arts, entertainment, media, and etc. rank only third in the list of professions with the highest addiction rates. The riskiest career choice is, contrary to popular opinion, the restaurant industry. Here's SAMHSA's top 10 based from data from 2002 to 2012. Number 1 was food preparation and serving, 17%. Number 2 was construction at 15% of people turning towards alcohol and drugs. Number 3 was arts, designs, and entertainment, sports, and media, 12%. Number 4 was sales, 9%. 5 was installation, maintenance and repair, 9%. 6 was farming, fishing, and forestry at 8%. 7 was transportation, material, moving at 8%. 8 was cleaning and maintenance at 8%. 9 was personal care and services at 7%. And 10 was office administration support at 7%. One thing most of these professions have in common, says SAMHSA, is a low incidence of drug testing. Makes sense, but it isn't really that simple. No, says Susan Rayburn, a clinical psychologist at Walnut Creek and co-author of Creative Recovery. Rayburn has done a great deal of research on this idea of artistic personality, what she calls people who have big appetites for things. And she found out that those who choose to become artists and athletes often seek these poles of intensity and find those kinds of draws through their profession. We refer to them as thrill seekers, she says, because they are people who have a lot of accelerator and not much brake. Nancy, a 35-year-old novelist in San Francisco whose cutting-edge style attests to her creativity, who was one of those thrill seekers. But she says that she often felt the risk related to drug in particular, and she took in her personal life were the ones that she feared most, taking her creative aspirations away. Now 7 years sober, Nancy found professional success only once she was able to put down the bottle. I guess I always just had this creative energy in me, or maybe it was just nervous energy, but it was energy either way. And probably the drugs and the alcohol gave me that extra energy. But either way, I was always a little wild, and that the drug and alcohol even fueled my wildness. Once I found out drinking and drugs, that became my outlet. I utilized it, but it also stopped my need to produce creatively. I turned to drugs to get the energy out, and when I did that, I slowly stopped writing, or writing even good. Peligro had a similar experience. It was killing me not to have a creative outlet, the drummer recalls, that had always been how I had been able to breathe through drugs and alcohol. It was when I wasn't in the band that I started using even harder drugs and started getting really messed up in life. Of course, an artist's lifestyle can just be as damaging as their personality. Often the elements of being a professional rock star can become a risk factor, says Dr. Rayborn, listing to such dangers as the pacing and the lifestyle demands which are out of sync with a person's needs, the periods of boredom, alternating with periods of intense working, the way they can get isolated from a family and friends, and the unrestrained access to alcohol, drugs, and sex. If someone started out with a proclivity towards addiction, after a while the exposure alone can push them over the line into being more addictive, she says. I think it's important that artists understand these facts, because many people believe creativity has to be self-destructive and think they need to buy into that in order to be an artist or an athlete at a higher level. Nancy confesses that the notion of being an alcoholic writer was actually part of her plan. I remember when I graduated college, I almost moved to Key West so I could drink and write like Hemingway did. She recalls, I used to think that I wouldn't be able to be creative without drugs and alcohol. It was only when I got sober that I realized that was a lie, and I was actually writing better sober. Outside of the arts, perhaps the second most glamorous field notorious for addicts is medicine, says Friedman. That's unfortunate. One of the greatest risk factors for drug abuse is easy availability from being in the medical field. So when we talk about those medical field doctors and nurses, we are looking at real problems. One of the percentage rates is astronomical at 6% of drug abuse. If alcohol abuse seems to be less common among doctors than in many other professions, when you dig a little deeper into the data, certain arresting patterns appear. According to an August 2008 article in the Journal of Anesthesia and doctors may display a higher misuse of prescription painkillers, and so alcohol seems to be low, but those painkillers are high because they have access to them. The authors estimate that 1.6 of U.S. Doctors or residents just starting out, that is, are drug abusers. And why? It's because the combination of workplace stress inherited in their demanding professions and the responsibility for safe induction, maintenance, and emergence of being a resident of a hospital, paralyzed often with the critical ill feelings of having to do the best job possible, goes second hand, and then they turn to what goes first hand in their own lives, which is painkillers or prescription opiates. Barrett, a 42-year-old medical sales executive in Pennsylvania, was one of 1.6%. Now working in medical sales, the tall and handsome Barrett still walks with confidence of an MD, as he explains to me that he never really drank or used drugs until he was in medical school. I joined anesthesia because it catered well to my technical side, and I thought it would provide a high income to work ratio, he says. It wasn't until I started interning that I started using drugs from the pressures that being an intern caused. And it did last very long, approximately a year. Internship hours are not very conducive to being sober at all times. You want to do drugs to make it go by. After being arrested on drug possession charges with drugs from the hospital as well as other street drugs, Barrett saw his future in anesthesiology go down the drain. It was then that he was sent to rehab for medical professionals and was shocked to discover that he was not alone. I honestly had such a level of working with drugs and being around drugs. I thought it was only doctor dealing with this stuff that were sober, but there were tons of doctors and nurses that were in the same boat as I was. It wasn't until I was in the treatment that I was able to see the extent of addiction in the field of medicine. According to Barrett, there isn't an adequate information in medical school about proper medical billing, let alone addiction. I had a clinical understanding from my psychiatric rotation, but understood very little from the addict's perspective. It's the people who bring their risk factors to the job that are most prone to fall victim to addiction. Barrett paid a high price for his addiction, losing his license to practice. He has since gotten sober and found a meaningful career in medical sales. While he says that he never thought this was the way of life or where life would take me, I also didn't grow up thinking I would become an addict. I thought I'd be a doctor, and I was, until I ruined that. So what is about professions, arts, medicine, and some would add insurance, sales, journalism, and a host of others that attracts addicts? Friedman holds that it's the people who bring the risk factors to the job. If you look at the profession and you see people in it who have drug problems, you have to assume they would have them no matter what professions they would be in. With certain evidence, the only support for the widespread addictions cause addictions notion, the neuroscientist says it's merely a hypothesis waiting for a proof. This is the kind of thing that the National Institute of Mental Health will never pay anyone to do research on, Rivem says. But I think that people in the arts and entertainment industry have a lot of unique circumstances that other industries don't have. A lot of stresses that lead them to want to experience drugs and alcohol, and they have people offering them things that aren't most often offered to you and I. As for doctors, Friedman explains, although the medical community is aware of the high rate of addiction because the availability, it's only beginning to come to grips with the addressing and the causes after the high percentages of doctors end up in rehab. And I want to throw nurses into that. It's become really alarming to think that the doctor who might be performing surgery on you, the doctor that's prescribing to you, is prescribing to himself without even needing those drugs and alcohol, opiates, and liquid, of course. Folks, those were some of the jobs that might cause you to drink. So if you're in the medical field, a doctor or nurse, be careful. If you start feeling that you need to turn to alcohol and drugs, get the help that you so desperately need. Call someone. See someone. I hope to God that you all got something out of this segment. I hope to God that you have a great day, but I hope and I pray each and every day for each and every one of you that you all have a sober, and I mean sober, rest of your life. And may God bless you.
Have you ever prayed but never got an answer, and wondered if God was really there? Did you feel all hope was gone, but in His time He came along and answered the prayer you thought was gone? There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. shall receive. No matter what it is, I still believe. There is no prayer too small, and even when we fall, He gives us just exactly what we need. There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. No prayer too small. He always knows what's right. God hears them all. There is no prayer too small. My God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. No prayer too small. No prayer too small. God hears them all.
Yeah, change your future, it starts today. Live life to the fullest, never skip a day. Create hope, spread positivity. Beat your addictions and negativity. Ralf Friedrichs is here for you. Call today so we can help you. 1-844-405-HELP. 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 We are here for you. Call us today. The show is over, but your life starts today. Taking back your life's the only way. Keep faith, stay positive, push through. Take back your life, it starts with you. Alcohol and drugs can't control your life. Let go of the negative and the strife. Ralf Friedrichs is the man guiding your way. The show is over, but your life starts today. Call Ralf Friedrichs at 1-844-405-HELP. That's 1-844-405-HELP. We hope you love the show today and tune in next time. Take back your life today show with Ralf Friedrichs.